The studio Nitroplus is well known for its visual novels like Saya no Uta and Stein's Gate. While there are other types of games they are known for, which we won't be talking about, we'd like to discuss the newest game release, Doll's Nest. It looks and plays differently from what we've come to expect from the studio. Doll's Nest is an action shooter in which you control a girl outfitted with mechanical gear as she blasts her way through large maps filled with enemies. So, join us here at GameMate as we check out Doll's Nest and see whether Nitroplus's efforts at making a non-visual novel type of game works. The story of Doll's Nest takes place in a crater-like world called Hod, a place littered with broken machines, ruined structures, and hostile armored units that roam its decaying terrain. You play as an unnamed doll servant of a defeated deity and are tasked with locating her stolen parts to make her whole again, which pretty much fits the usual dark and edgy story that Nitroplus is known for. And honestly, that's all they give you in terms of world building and story. The game doesn't tell you upfront why your character is doing the thing they are doing, as there is a lack of lore early on in the game. After the tutorial, you are just dropped into this strange world and are left to figure out why you do things. It is only until you finish the first area that the game starts to trickle in some lore, and even then, you are still left with more questions than answers. Like, why did we wake up in a strange place? What exactly are we fighting for? Why are we playing as a cute anime girl with giant mecha parts in battle? And why is a giant girl there? Who knows? Cause we sure don't. Like we said earlier, Doll's Nest is an action shooter similar to games like Armored Core or even Mecha Break, but with a huge difference. Instead of piloting a huge mech, you are instead controlling an anime girl with large mech parts attached to them. While the gameplay may look simple, the game does have a distinct charm to it and has quite a few layers of technical depth. The game has you explore large open areas filled with enemy robots to defeat along the way. As you explore, you will find some useful items such as upgrade materials to even new equipment for you to use. Doll's Nest doesn't feature skills to play around with and instead is heavily reliant on the gear you have equipped. You have access to a large arsenal of mech parts and weapons, which have their own strengths and weaknesses. This encourages you to try out different equipment to see which build fits you best. And honestly, you will need to find the build that you are comfortable with, since the game does get a bit difficult. Building your character isn't as easy as just picking a stat and pumping it to the sky. You will also need to factor in things like how well your unit handles, how much fuel it consumes while dashing, how fast it runs on foot, and so on. You know, the usual mecha game stuff. You can't just stack one or two stats and expect to survive when you're cornered. You'll need backup plans because the enemies in this game are not pushovers. You might be thinking, can't I just take cover and quietly chip away at the enemy's health behind a corner? Well, we got news for you, buddy. Enemies will actively hunt you down even if you're hiding. Some of the stronger enemies even have shots that can curve around cover, which forces you to reposition or even retreat. While there is a lot to like about the game, it does have quite a few problems too. One thing about the game that may annoy some players is that the game gives you no context to how things are supposed to work. Aside from the very basic tutorial that teaches you the most basic of basics, like how to move and shoot, the game doesn't give you any hints on some of the deeper mechanics that could help you out with your survival in the long run. Well, aside from some hints found in the game's loading screens, but those go by so fast that there are times when we can't even read them. Mechanics that feel like they should have tutorials but don't are things like being able to dual-wield handguns to enemies taking more damage with backshots. Backshots. These mechanics seem like information the player should be introduced early on, but instead are not introduced at all, and one may even go through the whole game without learning any of these. These confusing mechanics also apply to the game's navigation, as the game features quite a few large areas and having no indication of where to go gets a bit frustrating. There were quite a few times where we felt like we were just roaming around aimlessly and we couldn't tell whether we were going in the right direction or not. This was very apparent in the first part of the game. We can only rely on our instincts as we press forward and hope that the way we are going leads to the end of the level. But all these complaints aside, the game is still an enjoyable experience. For what it lacks, Doll's Nest makes up for it with its unique charm paired with the engaging yet challenging gameplay. Doll's Nest is best described as pretty, and honestly that's pretty much it. While the graphics aren't really its strongest point, the visuals and overall style of the game leave a lasting impression. Even though the character models feel like a random mishmash of different games, especially with how much different your character looks to the enemies you go up against, it gives the game a unique feel to it. We also can't talk about the visuals and not mention the many ways of customizing your character. The mech parts you obtain all have their own striking features and allow you to get crazy with how your character looks. Aside from the mech parts, you are also able to buy some cosmetics for your character, such as hairstyles to even new clothes. The customization gave us the feeling of kit bashing our very own mech girl kits, similar to model kits like the 30-minute sister kits or even the Frame Arms Girls model kits. As for the audio, there isn't much to say about it aside that it gets the job done. The music stays quiet and ambient while exploring, then picks up when you encounter a boss. The voice acting is also one of its strong points, as is usually the case when the cast comes from Japan's pool of audio overachievers.
それは大変だ。
With its layered gameplay and striking visual style, Doll's Nest offers a compelling mix of technical depth and surreal atmosphere. While the game does have a few flaws like the aimless exploration and lack of substantial lore, it makes up for it with its unique and charming personality and a satisfying challenge curve. That's why we here at Gaming are giving Doll's Nest a 78 out of 100. So, what do you guys think of Doll's Nest? Did Nitroplus do a good job of stepping out of their comfort zone? Let us know in the comments below. If you liked the video, like and subscribe for more gaming related content. This has been Gaming and we'll see you guys in the next video.